Okay, we're on day 5, risk management, and we're up to adding an audit. We have a look on our audit list. Based on we will go add new. We can now select our audit type, and it's really important that you do this because this will add the question set for you for your audit. When internal audits for your management system, I would select IMS. For your external audits, I would select other, so that any observations or improvements required, you can basically add to the system and easily manage to ensure that they get done. I'm going to add an IMS one. You can come back and edit this at any time. So you may want to put comments in. You may not want to put these in till later. You might do it in the office to start with, or an office in a work site. You might want to include the work site details there as well. You can include people that you've included as part of your audit here in your comments as well. Then we click the add button, and all of our audit items firstly appear down the bottom in the inspection detail. So when we actually go through and select, yep, this item is fully compliant, we really should add some evidence in there of that compliance. You can add pictures and screenshots. I have a little Chrome extension that I use called Easy Screenshot, which means you can take a screenshot of those current records, and then it just downloads the screenshot, and you can drop it then on the choose file button. So when you we'll add the first item as fully compliant, so you can get an idea of how that works. We just scroll down to the bottom and submit. You'll now see that item is in the fully compliant category. So you should then work through everything in the inspection detail until it lands in one of these 3 areas above. When we identify something as partially compliant, we will put down why we've made it partially compliant. So maybe not all incidents have corrective actions. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that one. Then we can add an action. So you might put add actions to all incidents, might be the corrective action for that one. Who's responsible for this task? When do we expect them to complete that? By the 30th of the 9th. And when they've completed it, we'll come back and put the completion date. Some people like to audit and just complete this section first and then come back later and add the actions. I would normally try and do get what I can in on the actions as I go. It just makes it a little easier for the client to manage ongoing. Then I hit the submit button. You'll see that this item now appears as partially compliant. This item now also appears on our risk alerts. So you can see here, audit actions due. So the expected completion is greater than today's date. So we expect that to be completed by the 30th of September. After the 30th of September, if we haven't filled in the complete date, it will appear over here on the left. This means all your actions from your audits end up in one place. You will notice that this is yellow for that particular item. We've got an incident in here with no actions, so that's why this is red. The incident was more than 7 days ago. That's why it's red. So you can see there's red. When we put an action against this item, I'll just add a test one, and we'll put in that that's been completed. You'll see now this risk on the alerts is now yellow, which is simply this item. Anything yellow is on this side of the page. If I go back to that back to that audit now, on the audit list, I simply work through all the items on the inspection detail until they've all been addressed. All the ones that are either not compliant or partially compliant, until there's a complete date in there, will appear on your risk alerts. The audit list also shows you a score, and the scoring basically works if I go back to that audit again, if it's fully compliant, it's a 2 out of 2. If it's partially compliant, it's a 1 out of 2. And if it's not compliant, it's a 0 out of 2. So you can see I've got a 1 out of 2 for the partially compliant, a 2 out of 2 for the fully compliant. That means the score's 3 out of 4 or 75%. So you can see the 3 out of 4. And if there's anything open, that will show up on here as well. You'll have a summary of how many audits you've completed in each area. Lots of businesses will set up some KPIs around completing worksite audits once a week or once a month to ensure that the quality and the safety on the work sites, because it's a bigger risk area, that it's appropriately managed. When you've completed your first audit in there, simply go back in and you can tick off the audit button. We've had a look at the audit items and click update. That's it for adding your audits. Continue to add them as you progress along